with the career growth then, I mean, that has changed over the last 30 years.
Totally.
So, like, what have you seen in kind of what way is it now as opposed to kind of when I was in my 20s, a long time ago?
So right now I think it's interesting. We're kind of in an inflection point. So maybe I'll speak to a little bit of what's happening and then maybe some ways to think about what's coming. I think organizations are looking for in large set right now, we'll call them like skill sets. Like what skills have you acquired or built over time? And I think that cuts across a lot of different industries. There's a lot of ways to think about that. And in some ways that's not much different than where we've been, right? Over the journey of the working person. But what's interesting is when you take AI and start to play that into work and workplaces, there's a lot of shifts that are happening. Now, we're in a spectrum right now where you have some industries that are totally disruptive and some that are emerging and shifting. Somewhere in the middle, right, there's still change that's happening. And a lot of people are asking, like, what does that mean when you talk about changing tasks at work, changing what's required in a job? What do you mean AI is going to do these tasks for me? What do you mean this machine is going to sort of move down the assembly line for me? Right? These are both scary times and exciting times. And I think it leads people with the question of like, what does that mean for my career? And so what I think we're seeing is not the traditional sense of, you asked about career growth, like not the traditional sense of career of, oh, I'm moving up, you know, title A, title B, title C within this industry, right? The sort of traditional linear way of thinking, but more in an open space, a gray area. How do people start to sit in industry? I'll take HR, for example, because that's where I sit, and start to think about what's possible. So for me right now, I'm thinking, all right, jobs could be changing quite a bit. What does that mean? Is that going to change our pay structures? Does that actually change what a job is? Right? You're an entrepreneur. You run a lot of businesses under you. Is that maybe more of the future of everybody? Right? Am I contributing to a couple of different organizations because my skill sets or expertise doesn't fulfill one job, it fills multiple jobs? Right? Those are some of the questions. And so as you back out of that, what are the skill sets you are wanting to grow and develop? So for me, that's literally learning AI. Where can I influence the people strategy at my company under the guise of what's AI going to do to my industry? So I think it's much more fluid than it's been, and it's much more gray. And I think can be partially uncomfortable for folks, or it could be super exciting. But when I talk to people today about their careers, it's really about taking kind of that first step with curiosity. Where do you think look at the industry, look at kind of what's working in competitors. Where do you think you can start to lean in to build new skills, to build new ways of thinking, and potentially totally disrupt, where you've been going in your career path? Then, by the way, where do you want to take the first step? So that's what's going on with careers. And if folks aren't thinking about it, hopefully this is inspiration to start to put that question in, which is, yeah, what is happening in my space? What are the things I should start watching so that, you can start to shift both the mindset, but also where you might want to be growing?